Welcome everyone joining us for this live stream event on November 17, 2020. Hey, my name is Chuck Bonham and I'm the director of the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. But today I also have the incredible, humbling assignment to be the MC for this event. So what's the purpose of this event? You are watching something today that is historic. You are going to hear from leaders who are announcing a new memorandum of agreement to advance the most ambitious salmon restoration effort in history. This memorandum of agreement has been signed by the states of California and Oregon, the Yurok Tribe, the Karuk Tribe, Berkshire Hathaway owned PacifiCorp, and the Klamath River Renewal Corporation. This agreement describes how these parties will implement something called the Klamath Hydroelectric Settlement Agreement, which many of you know that are watching, sets the terms for the removal of 4 now obsolete dams on the lower Klamath River. But you may be asking, Chuck, what are the real details? Let me give you a quick summary of those details. First, this agreement demonstrates these 5 parties' firm commitment to dam removal, full stop. Second, it confirms that the Klamath River Renewal Corporation will be the dam removal entity in charge of that aspect of the project. Third, it retains the liability protections for PacifiCorp's customers established in the original underlying settlement agreement. Fourth, it advances all the planning and permitting that remains to complete the project. As of today, actually probably while we're speaking, we will be filing a license surrender application in front of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC, which has jurisdiction over these dams. Next, in January of the upcoming year, the parties will submit a second application to FERC to remove PacifiCorp from the license for the project and add California, Oregon, and the Renewal Corporation as co-licensees for the focused aspect of removing the dams. Adding the states in this role assures that we have the sufficient backing to get the project done. It honors prior settlement terms in which PacifiCorp would not be a co-licensee for removal, and it's entirely responsive to an order we have from FERC July of this year, confirming a lot of the project, but asking the question, is there sufficient backing? This package of commitments today ensures a successful dam removal project. We will get going right now. We are on track because of this memorandum of agreement to begin work in 2022 and actually be removing the dams in 2023. But there's something else that's way more important that I'd ask you to pause and listen. These details matter, but there's something else. The Klamath River is special. It has been the center of the universe for Native American tribes since the beginning of time. It connects Oregon and California from the high desert of one state to the coastal estuary at the majestic Pacific in the other. The Klamath River is a mighty river, but the river is not doing well, nor are the salmon that call it home. For many, a life without salmon in this river is no life at all. People care about the Klamath River deeply. That's why we're here today. Saving the Klamath River will also save the people and the communities that depend upon it. And nothing, literally nothing of great consequence that's ever done that changes the trajectory of history happens without partnerships, happens without the individual leadership of the individuals we're going to hear from in a moment, happens without toil, sometimes turmoil, sometimes fighting, but ultimately collaboration and the resolution of a problem. That's why we're here today. We're on the brink of the biggest salmon restoration project ever. A friend of mine says it's restoration potentially observable from space. So with that, what's going to happen next? In a moment, I have the great pleasure of introducing my boss, the governor of the great state of California, Gavin Newsom. Then we're going to hear from Oregon Governor Kate Brown, whose advocacy for this river is strong and long running. Then we're going to hear from Mr. Greg Abel, who is the Vice Chair of Berkshire Hathaway's non-insurance operations and the Chairman of Berkshire Hathaway Energy. We wouldn't be here without Greg and his team's leadership. Then we're going to hear from Yurok Chairman Joe James, who has fought for his people forever. Then Karuk Chairman Russell Atterbury, who is one of the most thoughtful leaders I've ever met. And finish with remarks from Mark Bransom, the Chief Executive Officer of the Klamath River Renewal Corporation, who will hand it back to me. Governor Newsom, it's a great honor and privilege to hand it over to you. Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you, Chuck, and all of you. It's a wonderful moment. It's wonderful to be here with all of you. I'm reminded of the old saying, God's delays are not God's denials. We're finally one step closer at this remarkable moment in our history, collective history. It's a reminder that we're many parts but one body. And this notion of having a governor from the state north of California, joined with two tribal nation leaders, joining together with some of our nation's most formidable private sector leaders, together with a collective vision to right some wrongs, to address some of our historic mistakes, and to set a tone and tenor to frame a much brighter future for generations to come. I'm sitting here in Jerry Brown's old office, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger's old office. And I say that only to make this point. This process began with renewed vigor. Process, of course, has been unfolding for decades and decades, but with renewed vigor under Governor Schwarzenegger's leadership. He passed the baton to Governor Brown, and I'm just honored to be here in extension of their wisdom and their leadership. But the one constant has been Chuck Bonham. And Chuck, I just want to thank you for your faith and devotion to this process, never giving up, not just assigning grievances to issues that came up, but to assign solutions and new strategies to engage and to commit to keeping this project moving along. There's been fits and starts. People are learning more about FERC than they ever wanted to know. People are learning more and more about nuances of previous agreements, and there may have been personality. All that aside, we're here, this remarkable moment, so close to the finish line, but sober in the recognition we still have to go through FERC. We still have to go through our own Public Utilities Commission here in the state of California. We still have so much work to do, Governor Brown, you and our staff, our teams, to make sure we fulfill the commitments that we're making here today. So much work to do with Berkshire and with PacifiCorp, and so much work to do to continue to restore trust. And it's really in that point I want to end. I think one of the wonderful things about the history of this endeavor is the dialectic between tribal nations, tribal elders, tribal leaders, tribal councils, staff, and Chairman James and you, Chairman Atterbury. And that dialectic, your expectations, we simply wouldn't be here without you and your leadership, your council's leadership, and your tribal elders' leadership. You've been places, far and wide. You went overseas. You held us all to account, to a higher level of expectation and accountability. I know you're not going to give up or back away from that. And our commitment to you is just that, a commitment. We're not interested. I grew up, one of my greatest memories of going up to this river, going up to the border with my father. I don't know if you see that, and it's not intentionally here. I just happened to see behind me on the screen a mountain lion. My father started the Mountain Lion Foundation here in the state of California. I'm named after Gavin Maxwell, who wrote a book about river otters. My first pet was a river otter. My father was an environmentally passion doesn't even begin to describe his environmental stewardship. And he really made that indelible in my life. By the way, for $35, one of the great moments of my life, I sold a 11.5 by 14 photograph in a Friends of the River auction that I took up there at the Klamath. I thought I died and gone to heaven, made more money than I ever thought I'd see the rest of my life, $35. And so it's really in the spirit of generations and the spirit that you have brought, Chairman James and Atterbury, to this, the spirit that your stories. Chairman Atterbury was just telling a story about his earliest memories on the river and the abundant mindset, now the scarcity mindset. And it really is in that generational construct that I'm here and just want to offer my deepest gratitude, because my kids, their kids, but more importantly, two of the largest tribal nations in the state of California, in this country, are going to finally see their tribal access restored, their sacred sites restored, and that connective tissue to your history from time immemorial restored for generations to come. And I just think that's a wonderful thing. Final words. In a time when we're so filled with so much cynicism, so much anxiety, so much negativity, that we're here on the precipice of doing something, the largest river restoration project in the history of this country, and restoring what was once the third largest salmon run, 400 store miles of habitat that will be restored. What an extraordinary moment this is, and what an extraordinary moment it will be 2022, 2023, and years when we work with Mark and others through the Renewal Corporation to fulfill our commitments on the restoration, what it will be to experience what generations had come to expect and experience from the beginning of time. So forgive me for being so long-winded. It's just with gratitude that I'm here and real appreciation. And with that, I want to pass the proverbial baton to someone from the day I got elected. Called me not just to congratulate me, but Kate Brown called me to say, where are you on the Klamath? What are you doing about this restoration? I'm not even kidding. She has been on this for years and on the state of California. And Kate, I know how proud you are. And it's been wonderful to have conversations in the last few weeks with you about this project and this moment. And so I want to pass it on to you again with deep appreciation for everything you've done to help get us here as well.
Thank you so much, Gavin. And thank you for your visionary leadership in the state of California. I really appreciate the friendship and am incredibly grateful for the partnership. So thank you, thank you. I also want to say thank you to our tribes here today. Chair James, the Yurok Tribe, Chair Atterbury, the Karuk Tribe. We are here because of you and your vision of what you want to see for the future, and I am incredibly grateful for that. Thank you. Great successes have many parents, and there are others as well. I want to do a shout out to Stefan Bird and his team at PacifiCorp, and of course, our strong partners in the Klamath River Renewal Corporation. Mark, thank you for your leadership, and I want to say thank you to the Oregon team for their strong partnership as well. I think we all know that we have more work to do, but I want to take a moment and recognize how far we've already traveled together to get where we are here today. It was 4 years ago that many of us gathered at the mouth of the Klamath River to sign on to the agreements that set us down the path, bringing us to this historic point today. I remember the weather on the river that day. It was gorgeous. I enjoyed meeting many of you. And I have to tell you that the optimism of that day has stayed with me through all of these years. And unfortunately, I know we can't be together in person right now. I know that everyone in this Zoom room recognizes that what we are doing is more than just signing a legal document. We are taking an incredibly important step forward on the path toward restorative justice for the people of the Klamath Basin and towards restoring the health of the river, as well as everyone and everything that depends on it. So from my perspective, the agreement is about far more than the removal of 4 dams. It's a step towards righting historic injustices while also putting these lands and the waters on a path to a future that everyone can share. We all know from time immemorial, the stewardship of the indigenous peoples of the Klamath Basin have nurtured these lands, these waters, the fish, and the wildlife of the region. In Oregon, our Klamath tribes remember a time when their livelihoods were supported by clean, healthy, and vibrant waters. It is that vision, that promise that we are working towards restoring for the generations to come. So again, I thank you for the leadership of the tribes of California and Oregon. You have had extraordinary patience and shown incredible persistence throughout this process. Change has not come quickly enough, and yet we're still here taking one of the most significant steps toward restoring the Klamath Basin, and your voices led this effort. And your counsel, of course, will continue to guide us as we pursue the vision of a free river to support salmon and with bounty for all to share. Your signatures on the agreement today are a solemn reminder that yes, this is Indigenous land, and it is Indigenous knowledge that will truly show us the way forward. And with your tribal leadership, we will continue to drive progress as we work to restore the health and the abundance of the Klamath River Basin. And with my signature here today, I'm making my commitment that the state of Oregon will join Berkshire Hathaway, PacifiCorp, the Klamath River Renewable Corporation, and our partners to the south, the great state of California, to ensure that together we will take the final steps needed to bring this important work to completion. I have two more thank yous. I would not be here today, but for Governor Ted Kulongoski, who led this effort through the state of Oregon. He's now serving on the KRRC board, and I'm incredibly grateful for his friendship and mentorship and leadership. And Richard Whitman has carried the torch here in Oregon for years, and I am so appreciative of his persistence as well. So thank you all so very much for joining us today. I wish we could be on the river singing and dancing and eating. Unfortunately, we're in the Zoom room, but that will happen in the future, I am confident. And with that, I'm really honored to turn it over to Greg Abel, Vice Chair of Berkshire Hathaway of Non-Insurance Operations and Chairman of Berkshire Hathaway Energy. Greg, your team, thank you for your vision. Thank you for your persistence. And thank you for your collaboration. We're incredibly grateful for your leadership as well. The floor is yours.
Governor Brown, thank you for those very kind comments. And it's truly an honor to serve Oregon as a utility provider to the many customers there. And we value the relationship we have with yourselves and your many folks there. So greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Let me just start by saying Mr. Buffett and I appreciate the thoughtful collaboration and effort that went into reaching what is truly an important milestone, but just such an incredible agreement, as both governors have already highlighted. We personally want to thank Governor Newsom and Governor Brown for their leadership, ongoing commitment, and truly an incredible commitment by the states and their teams of California and Oregon. It's been a pleasure to work with Chuck Bonham and Richard Whitman, as we've heard, representing California and Oregon. But when I say a pleasure, it's really been an incredible learning experience for myself. These individuals brought a great deal of passion and commitment to the table every time we met, and we're always looking for an innovative solution. They were going to find an answer. And it's just a pleasure to work with people like that when you're working on such a challenging matter. So thank you for their efforts, and again for the states. We also want to acknowledge our partnership with the Klamath Basin tribes. Yurok Tribal Chairman Joe James, as well as Vice Chairman Frankie Myers, thank you for your incredible commitment. Karuk Tribal Chair Buster Atterbury. Also want to acknowledge Josh Saxon and many others from the tribes who've put their time and energy into such a critical issue and really identifying a path and a way forward. Tribal leadership and partnership have been critical to moving the coalition forward and making the progress we've made. And there's a lot more to be done, but I know we're in a position, and with the teams working together, we will continue to make significant progress and just fundamentally continue to be inspired by the commitment of our tribal partners to improve the lives of their people and their resources. I'm pleased today to restate Berkshire Hathaway's and PacifiCorp's commitment to seeing the agreement fully implemented, including through to the removal of the dams. As we've heard, it's not just regarding the signing of the agreement. This is ultimately regarding the removal of the dams. And as we've also heard, more importantly, the restoration of the river and the surrounding lives of the tribal communities. I want to commend our team for helping create the agreement and emphasize the PacifiCorp Berkshire teams will continue to support whatever is needed for its ongoing implementation. Berkshire Hathaway Energy President, CEO Bill Furman, was an important part of the original signing and continues to be absolutely critical as we move forward. But Governor Brown, as you noted, CEO Stefan Bird, Pacific Power Senior Vice President Scott Bolton, and the rest of our team all have played an important part in moving this across this important milestone, and will play an equally important part as we move it towards the ultimate finish line. We know that the issue of removal of these dams is one of incredible importance to the tribes and is a matter of social, economic, and racial justice. We are also appreciative of the willingness of our tribal partners, Governor Newsom, Governor Brown, and their teams to work on such an innovative solution with a long-term focus. And I really believe that there were challenges, but it delivers so many positive outcomes that you could just see the continued commitment. Every time we hit a roadblock, there was an understanding we needed to overcome that. And I believe that mutual recognition and respect for each other's core needs has helped this partnership endure and will lead to a very successful outcome. So in closing, I just appreciate the opportunity to be with all of you today. And we'll close by once again thanking Governor Newsom, Governor Brown, our tribal partners, and our KHSA signatories for the ongoing partnership that's existed and their efforts to finish the job at hand. And I really do believe we're in an exceptional place now as we move forward. I do want to introduce Chairman James. Chairman, the last time we were together was due to an invitation from yourself not many months ago to visit the Klamath River, to have a very nice discussion or a tour of the river. And what I heard was passion and commitment around what needed to be done for the long-term restoration of this river and for the tribal nations on the river. That was very clear. Your team communicated clear expectations up at Blue Creek, and those were lasting comments on all of us. So thank you for that invitation, because it was a great experience. And I think as the governor's touched on, any time we've been on that river, it reinforces the commitment to what needs to be done. So with that, I'll turn it over to Chairman James. Thank you again.
Thank you, Greg. My name's Joseph L. James. I'm the chairman of the Yurok Tribe. I come from the village of Shregon. Wow, you know, I speak with a lot of heart. I speak with a lot of passion. That's where I live in. And today is an honor and a historical day for the people of Yurok. I'd also like to share what this means to me and us. This dam removal is more than just a concrete project coming down. It's a new day and it's a new era for California tribes. To me, this is who we are, to have a free-flowing river, just as those have come before us, and here now for those generations to come. This is a place and time for our prayers, our song, our dances, our ceremonies will continue to move more with water, more fish, and our ecosystem will continue to heal to provide substance to all of us. We are connected with our heart and prayers to these creeks, lands, animals, and our way of life will thrive with these dams being out. Be able to have salmon and our traditional food once again, because there is no other place that our villages and sense of place than along the Klamath River. I'd also like to highlight and to discuss of who we are. We're prayer people, we're traditional people, we're a natural resource tribe. It is our duty and our oath to bring balance to the river. In this effort is fulfilling that duty. I would also like to thank Governor Newsom for his leadership in Indian country, his commitment to improve the lives of tribal sovereignty and the tribal governance within the great state of California. I'd also like to take this moment and thank Governor Kate Brown for her commitment, her passion, her hard work regarding dam removal. Since we have been advocating and fighting for this, Governor Brown, with respect and honor, thank you for your commitment with this. I would also like to take a moment, thank our tribal council for their hard work. It's a long road, but we still got a long road to go. I would also take a moment and recognize our water warriors, our water protectors, our activists that held the front lines and they continue to do that fight on behalf of the Klamath River. Thank you for getting down. On behalf of the Tribal Council and the Yurok Tribal Chairman, thank you. I'd like to also take a moment and thank Mr. Warren Buffett and his family. On behalf of the Yurok Tribal Government, we'd like to say thank you from our family to your family for your work. I'd like to also recognize Berkshire Hathaway and their leaders. I'd also like to take a moment. I need to recognize some political leaders that have been advocating and fighting with us on behalf of that. Congressman Jared Huffman, thank you for your work. Thank you, Assemblymember Jim Wood. Thank you, Assemblymember James Ramos. Thank you, California Senator McGuire. I also like to thank Vice President-elect Ms. Harris. I would also like to thank California Senator Dianne Feinstein. Exciting moment to be here today to talking about the removal of our dams. Thank you, Greg. Gets my blood and my heart moving, making us whole. We continue to advocate. We continue to pray in the mountains for be able to walk on the riverbanks with a free-flowing river with post-dam removal. That's who we are. We're truly thankful for that, but also again, knowing that we got some work yet to go. I also want to thank my staff who has worked hard around the clock through the weekends to continue to work on this project, knowing how much it means to us. I also want to thank our past elected officials, our elders, that have paved the way for me to be here today to talk on behalf of that. It is truly an honor and a special day here for the Yurok people. I also want to recognize someone that's near to my heart, Yurok Troy Fletcher. He's here with me today. And so I'd like to take a moment and recognize his work. It's an emotional day. The effort to heal the Klamath River, an expression of tribal sovereignty, a fulfillment of Indian rights, and a restoration of justice. It benefits our neighbors up and down the West Coast. The effort to heal the Klamath River is who we are. We walk it, we live it, we pray it. And so with that, I want to say thank you for all our partners on this call today, and we look forward to continue the good work and the partnership of moving forward, not just during this project, but post-dam removal. With that, I also want to, before I move forward, I also want to thank Chairman Atterbury and the Karuk Tribe for their commitment, their passion. I want to say thank you for our brothers and sisters up the river. With that, we have now Chairman Buster Atterbury.
Yotwa, thank you, Chairman James. Appreciate all the comments. Wow, this is a very exciting day. I've been chairman for my third term as a Karuk chairman. I've already said quite a few times that my worst day as chairman is when I said there was no fish available for our tribal members, our elders, our children, and the process that goes with preparing those fish and preparing our children for life ahead on the Klamath River. I'm looking forward very much to having the best day as chairman of the Karuk Tribe when I can say that we have restored those fish and that we can enjoy those bonding times with our children when we can go to the river and we can put food on the table together. So really a great time. I just have, like Chairman James had said, I just have a tremendous amount of thanks to offer people. First and foremost, I want to start off by emphasizing the role of our tribal members, our council members who marched, who protested, who wrote letters, who engaged in citizen lobbying efforts for decades on this project. We wouldn't have been able to, that was the start of things. And we're hoping we see the light at the end of the tunnel for the efforts that all those people made. The Karuk people have been dependent on Klamath River salmon, steelhead, sturgeon, eels since the beginning of time. And again, I look forward to that day when I can tell our tribal members that that has been restored, our fish are back. I want to make sure I thank the Karuk tribal staff, our Department of Natural Resources, who have been involved in this since the beginning. I'm so pleased to have the full support of Governor Newsom, California, and Governor Brown in Oregon. You and your staff have been outstanding partners to the tribe, to the tribes, and I want to make sure I thank the Klamath River Renewal Corporation, Director Bransom. Make sure I don't forget Chuck Bonham, who's been instrumental in all this. Make sure I thank our downstream brothers and sisters, the Yurok Tribe. We have weathered this together, and we consider you good neighbors and brothers and sisters that we look forward to a long existence along the Klamath River. I want to make sure I thank our friends at Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett, Greg Abel, Bill Furman, all that has been involved, personally involved, and your commitment to a solution and your personal commitment to working with the Karuk and Yurok tribes allowed us to find a solution when many thought there could not be one found. For all the Karuk people here today, and more importantly, the Karuk people yet to come, I say Yotua, thank you to all. Historic day. Again, I can't give out enough thanks. I just looking forward to moving forward with this project. We have discussed many times. We hope it is a benefit to everyone that comes into contact with the Klamath River, everyone that lives close to the river, everyone that wants to vacation here, the farmers, the irrigators that live in the upper basins. We want to make sure that there is enough water for everybody. Working together, we can do that. So again, from the bottom of my heart and behalf of Karuk people everywhere, I say Yotua, thank you. With that being said, I would like to hand off the baton to Mark Bransom, CEO of KRRC, Klamath River Renewal Corporation.
Thank you, Chairman Atterbury. I appreciate that. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Renewal Corporation, I'd like to thank this group assembled here this afternoon for all of their work that has brought us to this historic moment. Governor Newsom, Governor Brown, Chairman James, Chairman Atterbury, Mr. Abel, and all of your staff who have worked so hard and who will continue to work very hard to see this through. As most of you know, my board of directors is a very committed and skilled group of men and women who have been abundantly and consistently clear that failure to fulfill our mission of dam removal is simply not an option. So we will continue to work diligently toward that goal. I'd also like to take a moment to thank all the signatories to the 2016 amended Klamath Hydroelectric Settlement Agreement for your invaluable support and your guidance. The Renewal Corporation always wishes to acknowledge that we are building on all the good work that you all have done, in many cases for several decades, and we thank you for that ongoing support. So it remains full steam ahead for the Renewal Corporation toward achieving our goal of dam removal at the earliest possible time. So to that end, we will continue to advance all of our work to obtain the necessary outstanding permits and authorizations for dam removal, with the goal of having all of those final approvals in place in 2022. As Director Bonham mentioned at the top of the call, today we filed with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission an amended license surrender application, which is a granular, detailed plan explaining how we propose to remove the dams and complete all of the related work so that FERC can undertake their review and keep us moving forward. Our engineering work and constructability reviews are nearly complete. We have built a comprehensive insurance package and put in place other risk management mitigations and measures that will provide appropriate protections for the parties. So with that, again, today we're crossing a historic threshold that ensures that dam removal remains on track. The Renewal Corporation, again, thanks the parties for their commitments to our joint enterprise and all of your hard work. Thank you. Chuck?
Great. Three things, and then we'll call it a full lid. First, for the thousands of people who are watching the live stream, let's put our hands together for these individual leaders. Second, if you've got a pen at home, write this down. Klamath Renewal, one word, all lowercase, .org. That's where you can find the posted memorandum of agreement and the summary documents describing what we've talked about today. Last thing, speaking from my heart. First, I hope everyone that's watching and your family and friends are safe and healthy, and you remain so. I want to thank each governor and the chairs for leading their nations and states through a global pandemic. It's overwhelming. I feel it often. But for this moment, this hour, right here today that you spent with us, know this fact. In this corner of the universe that is the Klamath River, the light shines brighter today. Despite all the wrongs, against all the odds, the hard work done by these individuals and teams puts us where we are. Time is short against that historical backdrop. Let's take this moment. Let's not lose this moment. Let's go forth and get it done. It's the right thing to do. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thanks to each of you leaders. Have a great day.
Congratulations, everybody. All the progress. Greg, thanks again. And thank Mr. Buffett. Wonderful.